a triple kill, but Son of Finn, he'll deny the plant. He sees 2 more kills. Oh my god! Son of Finn will find more!
Where's Miracle? He's trying to come upstairs, but Crafty will get the ace. He'll get the plant. He'll do it all. Device misses shots. He's gonna have to go for the front.
Oh,
He pushes on through. Dylan is better.
Round 2, and there's another as Tyrants is finished off, and they all line up for Bone.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SCS Season 5. My name is Jays Wills, and joining me tonight, a man you may not recognize. It's not CDAPS, it's Crater. A wonderful man, Devin, who's here joining me on the desk tonight. Crater, I'm thrilled to be casting with you for the first time, and welcome.
I'm gonna be honest, yeah, I'm a little nervous to be back on camera. It's been a while since I've actually appeared in front of the camera before. Usually I take my spot behind the scenes, but I don't know, Connor just didn't set his alarm, so I was like, let's do it. Anyway, yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Happy to have you, man. Happy to have you here, and especially for this absolutely fantastic matchup we've got tonight. Kicking things off with a banger, we've got Gatekeepers, now known as Team MystiC, taking on Wichita Wolves in just what could be one of the best matches we've seen so far this season. As you can see by our standings in front of us here, both of these teams had a very strong Week 1 performance. Team MystiC getting 5 points, only 1 point loss due to an overtime win against Aerial Arise in Week 1, and Wichita Wolves, the full 6 points allocated, 2 decisive wins over their Week 1 opponent, which was Nemesis. Now, a win here would propel both of these teams to the top of these standings to join No Plants up there with 8 points as well. And our second matchup for tonight, for those of you who do not know, it's Project Neo versus Aggro, and we'll be passing that one off to Crow and Jazzman for that one. But just 2 fantastic matchups to end off Week 2 with a bang.
Yeah, that's the thing about these early games here in a round robin style tournament is the standings are still so fluid and dynamic, which kind of makes the games really exciting. You know, both of these teams right now, you're seeing them in the middle of the pack, but you know, any one of them could ascend. But that said, we will be looking at who's actually going to be showing up tonight. First roster here is going to be MystiC. That's Whitlock, Gunner, Rexavy, Feltwinner, and Zeno. A couple names from the old Aerial Arise CCS roster. I had a lot of fun watching that team when I was working Season 5. And I've seen them a little bit on this roster. Used to be Gatekeepers, but they just announced their organization pickup. Congratulations to them. And I'm excited to see how they'll kind of keep that momentum through the league.
Yeah, it's been amazing to see the growth of this team, you know, over these the CCS NSG monthly tournaments that they were just so strong in. And now, you know, they've got org representation, which is just fantastic to see. On the side of Wichita Wolves, this is a very well-known org in the community, but this particular roster, this was a more recent development. Their old roster pretty much disbanded, and they brought in this new stack of Twiz, Faded, Morocco, TPA, and Shu. A really stacked team that has been, I think, defying expectations in a lot of different ways. And it's been great to see them really come into form in the open quals, the closed quals, and now in the season itself. You can see the stats here that everyone is on both of these teams have really been lighting up the scoreboard. Whitlock and Gunner, like you mentioned, Crater, 2 of these players coming over from Aerial Arise, and both just really lighting it up and really having a good time over on the Gatekeepers, or now, Team MystiC now. And on the side of Wichita Wolves, you got Twiz and Faded, also Morocco. They all have some pretty positive ratings there, and they've all been doing some pretty good work for their team. Look at that, 82% cost coming out from Twiz, so definitely impressive stuff there.
Yeah, it's great to see so many power players here coming out on both teams. Actually, speaking of Faded, it's interesting to see a player who is given the role of support according to our graphic, but he's also on Ace and Smoke, which is, you know, traditionally a support role. But you can see him coming out, you know, 1.28 rating, 19 to 12 KD, and it's kind of interesting. We're seeing that shift in the meta where your support players are starting to become more flex, more kind of frag oriented. So that'll be fun to see if how Faded is going to work with the rest of Wichita Wolves in a matchup like this.
Yeah, you call out his stats, and I'd also like to call out the entry that Faded has, because of every player in this lobby tonight, Faded is the only one with no entry kills or deaths, which honestly is the mark of a perfect support player. You're doing your job perfectly. You're not getting over aggressive and taking early fights, nor are you putting yourself in pretty dangerous situations. We can take a look at our caster predictions here, and we can see we've got a pretty unanimous selection. Most people think Team MystiC are going to take this one, and our community poll would agree. Chief, however, he's going to go with Wichita Wolves, and he's at, 43% prediction rating, so, not as good as my 63%, but definitely still up there, so something to be said about that, because yes, the Wichita Wolves, they've been incredible over the last few weeks, but now they're, facing Team MystiC, a team that really has been tearing every single other team apart.
Yeah, I mean, Team MystiC, if you've seen this roster's been around for quite a while. If you've seen in other T3 tournaments like the Nerd Street Gamers monthly tournaments, as well as, the Pro-Am coming up, they are a very scary roster to go up against. And I mean, Wichita Wolves, I haven't been following them as much, but they're kind of neither here nor there so far, it seemed, with the results in this league. And I guess respect to Chief for sticking with his guns there, even though he has the less popular opinion. But anyway, we're going to be going over the map bans, which will definitely be a big factor in how this match plays out. Theme Park and Clubhouse. Clubhouse, a very common map, but Theme Park, not as commonly played. And it's also soon to exit the map pool to be replaced with Chalet. So I'm interested to see kind of what their, exit strategies are going to be for that map.
Yeah, especially considering that next week we made the decision here at SCS that Chalet will be replacing Theme Park as soon as week 3. And we're on the last play day of week 2. That means this could be, unless the Aggro and Project Neo want to go to Theme Park, this could be the very last time we're going to be seeing Theme Park in SCS for quite some time. And so I am definitely rearing to go on that map and to see, exactly what these two teams can throw down. Like you highlighted, Crater, Theme Park is one of those maps that you don't see very often, but when you do, it can be quite spicy because, one team will opt to be more prepared than the other, especially on one of these, less stock standard maps like Villa or Cafe, those early bans in this round here. Clubhouse obviously filling the role of your pretty standard siege map. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out there. Maybe we're going to see a pretty one-sided map. Wichita Wolves, they wanted to go to Theme Park. Maybe that's where their, pseudo hunting ground will be tonight. But MystiC, I'm sure they're going to come out with some sort of response as well. But on a map like Theme Park, you can't say too much going into it because all expectations kind of go out the window.
Yeah, that is definitely true, especially with the lack of comfort a lot of teams have been expressing with attacking Theme Park and playing Theme Park in general. Looks like, however, we're not going to have to wait much longer before we get to see these teams duke it out on the map of Theme Park. We're starting with the operator ban phase. MystiC first, they chose defense, so they get the first ban. And I think the fact that they got the side pick, the way that the kind of bans and picks work out, you kind of just start eliminating maps. It kind of works like attrition until, whatever side pick first. It's going to be a great advantage for them. Taking Maverick off the board first, it's definitely going to help them with breach denial.
Well, the side pick advantage you highlighted is even more prevalent on Theme Park than other maps because this map is the most defensive-sided map in the game, without question. Often we see this map go 5-1 on the defensive side, and that doesn't surprise anyone. You get out to such that big lead, and even though when, the Wichita Wolves in this case, when they switch over to the defensive side, staring down a 5-1 lead is intimidating to say the least. And I think that's something we're definitely going to talk a little bit about later. But now that our ban phase is all rounded up, you've got your Thatcher off the board. No surprise there. Mira and Valkyrie to join both the Maverick and the Thatcher in the rubbish bin. The Mira, that is a pretty stock standard ban on Theme Park as well. So much area denial and map control can be just maintained with those black mirrors, and the Valkyrie as well. It's just simple information denial. And on a map like Theme Park with so much roam potential, just so much extension potential on the defensive side, taking those out should make things a bit easier for these attacking teams. And on this map, they will take every little advantage they can get.
Yeah, and I think these bans do affect the attacking side a lot more than they do the defensive side. At this point, if you're not scrimming without Mira in your strats, honestly, what are you doing? She has probably been consistently one of the most frequently banned operators so far, and Valkyrie as well. I feel like there are other operators who can kind of fill that intel gathering role just as well, if not better than Valkyrie in some situations. You can see here, Team MystiC starting out with a bunks. I think it's a bunk. No, it's not. It's a office daycare. I don't know the names of these
Daycare,
sites.
yeah. Bunks and daycare.
Okay, close enough. I don't know why I just completely just brain farted there, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they're using the Goyo. Cade, mute as well. That's going to play into those kind of hard breach bans, since the attackers will have to work a lot harder to get around it. You can see a lot of soft breach there on the attacking side. Nades as well. That's probably what they're going to be using to try to get past the Cade as well as the mute. But yeah, those Goyo shields as well could come into play and be a huge detriment to the attack.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess we'll have to see how it shakes out in round number 1. We're already going to get on into it. And looks like we're going to see, your pretty standard east side push coming out from Wichita Wolves. You enter from the east balcony, you work your way through cache, and you clear your way through this map. This bomb site is generally considered the primary bomb site just because the defensive teams have so much potential to just sit back and stall out the clock, simply extending over into initiation and office. I mean, that's the perfect way to let the time work for you, but that's not the setup we're seeing here from Team MystiC. They're playing this one a bit more passively, I'd say, a bit more on the site itself. We're not seeing a lot of utility devoted to initiation and offices like we would normally see. Instead, just opting to lock down the site. You put a player in break room, that's Xeno, and you've got a good bit of yellow hall and cafe presence as well. That's not going to work out too well, at least for now, for the defense, because it doesn't seem that the Wichita Wolves have any desire to push through the cafe. All of that pressure is mounting from waiting room right now. You've got Morocco and TPA just kind of challenging back and forth, but careful, because Gunner is waiting around the corner. So is Whitlock, just swinging back and forth. They've got a nice little crossfire set up with this B bomb site as well. Rixevi is here, and he's ready to shut this push down. Morocco's going to take a little bit of chip damage as he walks on in. But again, this is simply a slow, methodical take here from Wichita Wolves, one that is now going to be stalled out. Feltwinter finding a nice drone hole kill onto Twiz there to kick things off.
And it's a great start, and it's good for Team MystiC to play this passively, but Gunner with a quick double kill to take it out. Refragged quickly by Morocco. Rexavi with another one, and just like that, in the blink of an eye, this round has gone completely to the side of Team MystiC. This kind of attrition style they're playing, just burn the time of the attack down, and now it's Morocco all alone, and he doesn't even get a chance. Feltwinter with the final kill to end the round, going to Team MystiC. But what I was kind of getting at was just the way you described their utility and how, a lot of Goyo, Mute, Cade, it's all about burning time, wasting the time of the attack. Without that Thatcher, without that Maverick, you can see the attack kind of built up and stalled out in initiation, and then Gunner was right there to capitalize. And then like that, it's the entirety of Team MystiC just pounced. And after that, Wichita Wolves just did not have a chance.
Yeah, it was weird the way that one unfolded. It felt a lot like Throne Room and Armory, where you're kind of just hoping to send it through the Dragon Door if all else fails. And we saw pretty much the same thing this time in Waiting Room. Because there was no extension, other than a deployable shield and some utility over on that cafe side in the Yellow Hall, there wasn't much in the way of an initiation or office presence from the defense as well. This is something I highlighted earlier for Team MystiC, but it turns out to have worked out just fine. Wichita Wolves, I guess they had assumed they'd have to encounter more pressure on that entry, and because of that, they still took a long time to actually get something going. They simply waited in the waiting room, threw a couple of drones downrange, but other than that, they didn't do much to actually remove that deadly crossfire that they were going to walk into. They found themselves in a situation of, I guess we just swing angles and hope to win the gunfights. And that strategy, it's not going to work when the gun of Whitlock and the gun of Feltwinter are going to shine as well. So A valiant effort there on the attack, but no doubt a strong defensive hold. There wasn't anything too complicated. It was simply just lock down the bomb site and click the heads as they swing the corners.
Right. And it's weirdly counterintuitive how that works, where you give the attackers a little bit extra room and then they take it and they're like, now what? And it becomes harder to actually get across to the rest of the site. But anyway, after winning the first bomb site, MystiC have moved over to Initiation Office. And this one, similar kind of style that they're going to be employing, a little bit spread out across the site, but still focusing their utility on the bomb sites themselves. But you can see Wichita actually going for a bit of a vertical clear. Twizzler droning out Cash Room, while the Ash below is probably going to be ready and waiting once that breach deny utility is found out. You can see TPA, just as I'm saying that, is going to go into Gong. And with a drone to watch for flanks, he's probably going to be looking to find those Electro Claws, those Mute Jammers, so the attackers have an easier time getting the reinforcements open.
Yeah, we can see TPA doing that from below. The breaching charge comes on up, but Gunner is hungry to contest this. Taking a couple of shots there, but only the toes of TPA are going to be exposed, so nothing too fatal just yet for the Ash. But what that did is that's made TPA a little bit more wary of actually going for that Electro Claw. Finally, now pushing up again and looking for that claw on the wall, but I don't know if it's been found. Finally, it has. Good shot there from TPA from below. So that does mean the breaching charge or those Selma charges should be able to go on through. Morocco's just been holding this angle for quite some time now, just hoping that Gunner or Rexavy are willing to just swing into this angle, but MystiC have backed off a little bit, now knowing that the cash wall cannot be held for much longer. With that Selma charge down, the drones are going to come in, and again, it is a waiting game for Wichita Wolves. They're simply just looking for these opportunities that Team MystiC are resisting to actually present themselves with. So only 60 seconds left on the clock here, and Wichita Wolves, they find themselves ever closer to the same situation as round number 1. With the time dwindling, it's going to come down to these what we call fatal funnels. You just walk on in these doorways and hope to find some traction here, as Twiz is going to go for the swing again. The F2 ringing true on Feltwinter, but both players are going to be cut down about 40 HP for their troubles.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with MystiC actually for holding back, for not even giving Wichita an inch. With these players that are known for their aggressive and frag-heavy playstyle, it's really nice to see that they can kind of be both when they need to. Smoke grenades coming out to choke out the attack, making those fatal funnels even more difficult to get through. TPA will take down Whitlock, but with the time at this point, it might be an impactless frag. Flashbangs coming out, they're going to have to make it a rush. 8 seconds left, the diffuser will have to come down. TPA with a second, and here comes a diffuser from Faded. 3 seconds left now, and here comes Gunner and Rexavy to collapse. Goyle Shield goes down, but Morocco responds with a kill, and that's it. Rexavy and Gunner go down, and Wichita are actually able to make it work with so little time left.
Well, okay then. It just so happened that a flashbang was enough to completely derail the round for Team MystiC. You had Faded, not Faded, you had, I believe that was Xeno tucked behind the initiation wall and just got flashed out, pushed out, and there was nothing that he could do to assist the team. And as a result, you had Feltwinter try to come around to support, but a great swing from TPA. And then you had, of course, Morocco pushing in from the waiting room, a bunch of angles that just came out of nowhere for Team MystiC. And despite there being only about 13 seconds left on the clock when the execute actually was coming through, it was a pretty great execute at that. And Team MystiC had no response there for the aggression from Wichita Wolves.
Yeah.
But Crater, after that round, before we move on, we did want to use this opportunity to talk about something near and dear to all of our hearts here at SCS. As many of you know, the CEO of Wichita Wolves, Scrimsy, his mother was recently diagnosed with cancer, and tomorrow she's going to have to undergo a pretty nasty invasive surgery, and we want to send as much love and support their way as possible. So all of you who are out there, if you have a moment to drop into your timeline, send Heather a message, send Scrimsy a message, just letting their family know, letting them know that we're here to support them and we just want to wish them a speedy recovery, you can do so. Drop hashtag SCS5 in that message and we'll show some of those on stream.
Yeah, I think that's a cause we can definitely all get behind, and props to you all for setting that together. And I do wish Heather a speedy recovery as well. So yeah, hashtag SCS5. Let's see your support. Let's see your tweets. And other than that, getting back into it, I feel like even producers can fall to the caster's curse. Just as I was praising MystiC for their kind of laid back and lockdown play style, it didn't even matter. Just again, TPA with a quick opening duel onto Rexavy. And that'll be the first time I think we've had an engagement within the first minute of the round. And, MystiC are actually going to have to really work to kind of adapt to that. Looks like a kind of standard top floor east side clear for Armory Throne, which is where the defenders have chosen to defend. They look like they're not going back to office initiation. We'll see how it works out for them. Whitlock responding, evening out the man count, and at that point, we are now at an even 4-4.
Not only that, but it appears that Team MystiC, with that recovery, are still maintaining top floor control here. They're not going to let Wichita Wolves take this too early, and I mean, that's exactly what you need to do. You still got Whitlock playing pretty actively here, and Gunner, the one playing a little bit more withdrawn on the yellow stairs here, now forced to back off after a brief engagement with Morocco, pushing on through. But even though they haven't fully cleared out the top floor of all the Team MystiC presence, Wichita Wolves will be bearing down on this site and attempting to start to play vertical. You've got Morocco utilizing those impacts to get some lines of sight onto Throne and Armory, forcing these defenders to scramble around, and that should allow these Selma charges, yes it will, opening up this maintenance wall. The impact trick was attempted by Zeno, but it wasn't quite able to go down in time, and that is a very good sign for Wichita here. They really are poised now to go for a legit execute compared to what we've seen in these past few rounds that have had to been just straight sends through one doorway. Now with this breach open, and they could possibly rotate around to the barrel side, but without any other hard breach in their hands. Playday having used all three of those Selmas, it's going to have to be just to send through this maintenance breach and through the dragon door. They've got all these attackers now bunched up outside, and with 30 seconds to go, it appears they're ready to take some of these gunfights. You've got Feltwinter playing in split, Zeno playing back in Throne. They'll be looking to shut this push down. I don't know if they've got the manpower to do it. You've got Morocco, who has left the team for now to rotate and provide some pressure from elsewhere, but Gunner taking a long fight there. He's going to lose out to Faded. A nice headshot. Feltwinter quickly responds, though, but Twiz is coming up behind. He'll pick up one, but then they'll go 1-for-1 as Whitlock gets a double kill now, making it a 1v1 with Whitlock and Shu. In the bomb site, 2 seconds left, and Shu has to find the frag, but it will not be the case. Team MystiC, they'll play that one a bit more passively, winning out the round in the closing moments for Whitlock.
This is starting to look like a recurring theme for Wichita Wolves here. It's going to be theme. Yeah. Oh wait, I didn't even realize that. No, but yeah, it's going to start to become a huge problem if they are bringing these executes down to the last seconds. Even though they got that breach open and they got their opening picks earlier, they're not really doing as much to capitalize on it in the early and mid round. And then what you do is you have the defenders working them down to those 30-second, 20-second executes. And I mean, it did work once. It can work, but most of the time, you're going to see the defenders come out on top just because they have the inherent advantage. On a map as defender-sided as Theme Park, time is going to be your enemy as the attackers, and you have to make sure that you do everything you can to mitigate that deficit.
It is a recurring theme that we see all the time on this map, and it's a reason it's so defensive-sided, right? This map is so hard to get under control as an attacking team, and even though Team MystiC have done very little in the way of an actual heavy roam or a heavy extension, something we're going to see again not really come to fruition in round number 4, Wichita are still taking quite a bit of time to clear out this map. And that really shows you just the potential of time delay this map can have, because again, without those extensions, with just a simple roamer here or there, Wichita Wolves still are forced to take so much time off the clock before they can actually execute on the bomb site. There have been some opportunities where they could push in a little bit earlier, but they're definitely feeling the full spirit of the 20-second meta, and they've been waiting for those last few moments to push on through. We're going to be heading back to Daycare and Bunks here, and we are going to see a pretty similar setup from coming out from Team MystiC. You've got nothing in the way of an extension on the office and initiation side, and that is a little bit surprising given that they saw what Wichita Wolves wanted to do and how they wanted to take this map, but it turns out it is the perfect decision. The Wichita Wolves have now chosen to pivot around a little bit, and they're going to approach from the cafe and the top arcade side, actually walking into exactly what Team MystiC want them to.
You can see here they are setting up to break into cafe a little bit, get some control of the map. This is very different from how they cleared before, going all the way from the other side. Whitlock to start things off with a shot onto TPA, a nice shot from behind the Goyle shield onto cafe. And you can see, hopefully, after seeing their full site rotation, Wichita might adapt to a more focused push. Now that they realize that MystiC are playing very close together and not extending too far out, they might realize it's easier to just go straight for the site instead of wasting all this time on a roam clear. You can see, however, already minute 20 off the board for the attackers. So Whitlock here is just going to be holding up yellow stairs, and you can see Gunner as well. They're just holding their angles, still not trying to be conservative, not give too many advantages to the attackers. And you can see Morocco as well as, I think that was Twizzler. They're going to be pushing up the stairs. Gunner to deny faded, though. I think that's another kill from Cafe. Morocco trying to respond, but he can't get anything. And Gunner with a second one. It won't work. Zeno onto Twizzler now, and it's just a 5 versus 1. It's all up to SenpaiShu.Wichita Wolves, but with Nomad and him just not seeing Gunner, I don't know what that was there. It's not going to work out. And through the drone hole, it's Felt Winner to finish it off for Team MystiC.
Well, that one felt more Team MystiC-like in the way that they were just swinging and gunning all the confidence in the world and just destroying Wichita Wolves, or what was left. When I said that they were walking into the setup that Team MystiC wanted, I didn't expect it to go that poorly. A fantastic, flawless round, though, delivered on the side of Team MystiC, and that is exactly what they need to jump out to that 3-1 lead here. They won't be opting to go back to initiation in office, and I've got to say, I wholeheartedly support that decision, given the way that it went. They're going to be heading downstairs to the more unusual bomb site of lab and storage. Now, this site, it may be generally considered the hardest site to defend, but where it has its potential is the fact that attacking teams just have no clue at all how to attack this site generally. The approach tends to just devolve into, let's just send it through the supply window and hope that works. And maybe we'll see that kind of strategy again. You never really know. Wichita Wolves, I'm sure they've prepped an attack for this site. The question is, how much will Team MystiC allow them to do that? You've got the pulse in play, so it seems that Zeno is eager to play some vertical because you enter through Cafe, just like the Wichita Wolves were pretty much unable to do last round, but that's how you can play vertical on this bomb site, and it appears, just based on that vertical presence coming out from Team MystiC, that there will be a lot of utility and manpower devoted to that vertical hold, so much so that we have not a single player on the actual bomb site for now.
Yeah, unlike their previous defenses, MystiC have completely spread out all over the map, and I think this is actually the rounds have gone on. It feels like MystiC have actually been able to kind of creep their way into the heads of Wichita Wolves. You can see how well they basically, it almost felt like they baited Wichita into trying a more direct approach, and they were just ready to capitalize. And now they're playing it completely differently, and it's looking like Wichita could fall into a similar trap this round, as it seems like they're all crowding outside of the drug lab window, but with an extended hold, you only have Rexavy on the site, and it could be that we're going to see a nasty retake coming out from Team MystiC.
Well, it might have to be if Wichita Wolves just sees this opportunity to send it on in, and here it comes. Rexavy has no idea. TPA collects one, and now they have full site control. Faded now getting the bomb down, and here comes that very retake. Zeno's going to get the first one, cutting down Twiz, and Feltwinter on the swing. Might catch out Morocco. Yes, he'll get one, but not before Morocco could find a kill of their own. Shu will respond. cutting down Gunner, leaving this one in a 3v2 with Team MystiC desperate for this retake. Shu gonna run straight through his own nade, collecting the kill onto Zeno. Nice shot there, and Faded will close things off. And the Wichita Wolves will take the lab attack, and Crater, they will do so in the exact way that we predicted. The sending full into the supply storage room window. We see that strategy time and time again, and somehow it works every once in a while.
Yeah. I was honestly a little more hopeful that Team MystiC would have been more prepared for something like that. It seems like we saw the beginnings of a retake, because it felt like that's how they were trying to play the site, and it would have worked so well if they were just a little more prepared. They could have definitely taken some one-sided engagements there and just completely crippled Wichita after they funneled into that window. But again, it looks like they just kind of let their guard down a little too much. Maybe they're getting a little overconfident, but if they're not careful, we may actually see a 3-3 split at the end of the half. So MystiC going back to Armory Throne, a site they pretty closely managed to squeeze out, but again, it was a site they won nonetheless, and this time hopefully they'll be a little more prepared to cement that victory at the half.
Yeah, you mentioned the half, and to see that Wichita Wolves already have 2 rounds, I mean, that's a job well done for any attacking team on Theme Park, and if they could secure this one, that's not a good sign for Team MystiC and their hopes going forward. Again, this is Wichita Wolves' map pick. They wanted to come to Theme Park here tonight. Team MystiC did allow it to stay on the board for longer, so maybe they did prepare for this and are comfortable here. But going to defense on your own map pick and on, again, the defensive-sided map that Theme Park is, Team MystiC are going to be really eager to pull out this 4th round. It's almost a requirement on this defensive side, unless they've got something crazy cooked up on the attack. But the pretty same setup, like you highlighted, Crater, is going down for Team MystiC. They've got some loose vertical pressure coming out from 2 of their players. The rest of that will be on the bomb site itself. It's Rexavy and Whitlock. They're the ones holding down this top floor. You can see the Mozzie in play. The Mutant Mozzie combo. This is that information denial wombo combo that I always like to highlight. And it's so potent to do exactly this kind of situation. Just denying that intel, deny these drones from getting access to where you're looking to hold. Faded is able to drone out office and initiation, but I doubt that drone will be able to get through waiting room and actually see the positions of Whitlock and Rexavy here. And maybe Wichita Wolves are going to ignore it completely. They did bring the Nomad. They did bring Twiz out so he could lock down these rotations while they simply go for the vertical play. And at least for now, that seems to be their intentions.
Yeah, and with that, they can definitely set up some deadly crossfires on the site. Another thing, however, is you can see that Rexavy and Whitlock make up 2 out of the 3 C4s on the defensive lineup, and with an issue they had before of letting the breach get open a little early for what I would consider comfortable, I think it's interesting that they decided to put their C4s on the roam. It'll be interesting to see how they manage to implement that. You can see already Nomad air jabs have been set up, and Morocco is already going to be moving down to focus on the site. Ace Selma's coming out as well to get the wall breach. Looks like that utility has been cleared with another not even attempted impact trick from Zeno. It seems like almost like they want to let this wall come open, and they're kind of hoping for a similar outcome to the last time the site was played, where the attack all ran in and the defense was just better.
Well, it was a back and forth round. I think Team MystiC would like to win that one a little bit cleaner, and Gunner will make that nearly certain, lining up a clean double, now a triple kill, taking down all 3 of these big guns for the Wichita Wolves, leaving Shu and Twiz all alone. Now the quad kill from Gunner. He is just non-stop. Shu is going to look to the response, finally taking him down, but a near ace opportunity there for Gunner. It's going to be Rexavy to clean things up, and Team MystiC will make swift work of that attack, and they will indeed take that 4th defensive round that they were looking for.
I just shouldn't have said anything. Gunner would have gotten the ace. I said it, and he just gets domed. The second I say it, I'm like, Gunner ace, and he's dead. I apologize, Gunner, for stealing your ace. Please direct all concerns to CraterTM at ccs.tv. a very real email address, and I will make sure that you are compensated.
Unfortunate that you had to do that to the poor man. But 4 kills. That is definitely impressive, and that's going to give your team the round almost every single time. That does mean we're switching sides. It does mean that the Wichita Wolves can kick things off on their defensive half, hopefully in as strong of a footing as Team MystiC were able to do to keep this one nice and even. They're going to be going downstairs as their primary bomb site, so a little bit of a difference already between Team MystiC's setup, preferring Throne and Armory over Bunk and Daycare. Now, the way the Team MystiC set this up every single round, it was, for the most part, just a pretty heavy on-site hold. You had 1 or 2 players upstairs and 1 player kind of lurking around the bathroom area, the lockers area. That's exactly what Gunnar did in the last round, and that's exactly why they were able to take the win. So here, as we get forth into the second half, it does appear we're going to see a similar setup. You've got the Mute and the Mozzie coming out again. You don't have the Maestro. That is one difference. You have the Smoke instead, but it does mean you're going to have a lack of impact grenades. So we're not going to be able to see any impact tricking, but I guess if you want to compare even more to the previous half, the impact tricking did not come out very successfully. So nothing too concerning here for the Wolves.
Yeah. The lack of impact tricking, I mean, we are talking about it, but at the same time, so far it seems like it hasn't been a problem, especially when Gunnar gets a 4K. But Wichita Wolves, I'm not seeing any impacts on their side, not even a Maestro. So they could be going with a different strategy entirely. Feltwinter being drone into the vault room. There looks like a roamer up there. It's going to be TPA with Morocco on the yellow stairs. But so far, no engagements coming out yet. It looks like MystiC, side swap. Looks like MystiC are trying to cement control above the site, as well as finding some crossfires there with Gunnar in the kind of the bathroom side of things. So it'll be interesting to see how they plan to make this work and execute. It seems like right now all the attackers are very spread out, and I'm not sure how they are planning to make this work.
Yeah, we're going to have a couple of through-the-wall gunfights going on between Morocco and Feltwinter, but the Ash is going to win out that one, so a good start for Team MystiC on this attack. TPA, with their fallen teammate on the top floor, actually not going to leave, attempted a runaway, but instead going to overstay their welcome, and Whitlock is going to make TPA pay the ultimate price. That was definitely one strange mistake there. It looked like TPA was going to make the smart call, but either an inner voice in their head or somebody on the team actually said, no, hold upstairs for longer. There is still time to get a couple of kills here. But now, not only do Team MystiC have ample time, 60 seconds still to work with, but the Wichita Wolves are now missing 2 of their big guns. They're 2 of their top fraggers, in fact. Both TPA and Morocco with 4 kills are on the top of this leaderboard for the Wolves here. So now Team MystiC, with these entry picks and with this map control, they'll be looking to actually get an execute going. The Toxic Babe is going to do a little bit of a chip damage onto Gunnar to slow down his push, but he's fine with that. It's simply a drone game for the Zofia right now, waiting to figure out exactly where these remaining defenders are positioned. Twiz, despite being spotted out by Rexavy, is going to get a kill, but Zeno is quick to find the response. Faded and Twiz are all alone to clutch this one up. They both have the SMG-11 in hand, but they both need to actually find some kills here. 10 seconds are left. Team MystiC on the push and now getting this plant down. Feltwinter's going to hit the floor. A nice shot there from Twiz, and the pressure from Split is actually not there at all. It's all right now in Throne Room. The swing comes out from the defense. Whitlock denies 1, denies 2. And Team MystiC will take their first attacking round. A very good start for them.
MystiC are really looking scary right now. It's feeling like they're starting to get comfortable, which is ironic on a map like Theme Park. You would think the half swap would be Wichita's chance to breathe and recollect after a 4-2 split, which is perfectly standard. It is completely expected, especially how much this matters, but coming into a 4-2 split from a 3-2 instead of, a 4-1, it's not that bad. It shouldn't be that bad for Wichita, but at the same time, it feels like the usually and notoriously aggressive roster of Team MystiC have been playing a lot more passive than we're used to seeing. And I think Wichita are kind of expecting that aggressive playstyle, and they're trying to, in a way, out-aggress Team MystiC. But because of that, it feels like they're making a lot of mistakes, and MystiC have read into that, and they are doing a great job capitalizing on that. I mean, just as I was saying last round, with their kind of spread out attack, it seems like they were just ready for the defense to try to make a move, and they were ready for it, which when you're on defense, it doesn't really make sense for you to be initiating. But like I said, Wichita Wolves, they're getting uncomfortable, they're getting impatient, and it feels like MystiC are starting to, occupy their headspace a little bit.
I mean, that's exactly what you have to do on a map like this, and especially on your opponent's map, just getting in their head. Perfect solution to any kind of tomfoolery that your opponents are going to throw at you. We're not going to see anything too crazy or anything in the way of tomfoolery for round number 8. We've got our bunks and our daycare hold going away from Throne, not hoping to repeat the same disastrous performance. The Wichita Wolves will be looking to capitalize on this top floor bomb site instead. We're not seeing, I didn't believe we saw much in the way of an extension either. So both of these teams just looking to play this one a little bit more passively, or at least a little bit more on the site itself rather than extended to initiation in office. I've seen a lot of initiation in office extensions, and that's why I'm just so surprised in the lack of them that we're seeing. Most of this utility on the defensive side has been put towards this cafe push as well, and this is something that Team MystiC will be directly challenging on. We saw Wichita do this on their attack, and, well, it didn't go so well, as I think you may remember. Team MystiC will be looking to repeat, I suppose, their cafe push success, but this time they'll obviously be on the other side of the coin. At the same time, though, you've got Gunner pressuring from below, and you've got the Rappel coming out from Xeno pressuring onto Break Room. So a couple of nice angles here trying to be found from Team MystiC, but with almost 90 seconds gone, they've yet to find much.
Yeah, and I mean, it's looking like that. It's looking like they're, burning a lot of time, but at the same time, I feel like with the way MystiC have been playing so far, I mean, we've only seen one attack round, but it looks like they are doing a very good job at making their presence feel larger than it actually is. I mean, both teams only have 5 players, but MystiC have been able to set up enough wide crossfires and enough control of the map where the defenders are starting to feel choked off. You can see almost an engagement there. Felt winner almost taking out Morocco, but instead he'll be down and a couple more kills coming out. A 3 versus 4 after all the confusion. Senpai with another to make it a 2-4. Very decisive advantage. Twizzler with another. Make it a 1 versus 4. All up to Rexavy now. Once again, in the blink of an eye. He's going to try to look for a kill, and he will almost find it. Not quite onto the mute there of Twizzler. And at this point, it's not looking good. Smoke canisters coming out to chip away at some more HP, but he'll find Twizzler. The unfortunate peek out from him, and he was there. Rexavy with the AK to capitalize. He'll look for more, but there's only 40 seconds left, and he will have to go through 3 more players. There's going to be one on yellow. Does he see him? No. Senpai there, letting Rexavy walk right into him, and he will finish off that round and take Wichita a much-needed victory.
Yeah, great job from them to respond pretty well to the aggression of Team MystiC in the previous round. Quite the opposite in terms of overall performance. They'll take a pretty clean win. So things are not quite over yet for Wichita here. They've got one defensive round under their belt, but they need to rack up a handful more. It appears they will be tempting fate, and they will be going back downstairs to Armory and Throne. Now, what the focus of this last round was, it came on the vertical play from Wichita Wolves. They put a lot of utility and manpower into that hold, and that very thing is what cost them the round. We saw TPA over-aggress, overstay their welcome on that top floor hold, and Team MystiC capitalized perfectly. So in going into this one, that is one pretty obvious correction that Wichita Wolves could make here. They simply just don't need to hold the top floor for as long. Just putting somebody up there to shoot out a couple of drones, putting 2 players up there to shoot out a couple of drones, or in this case, snag a couple with some Mozzie Pests or some Mute Jammers, all of those little steps do make quite a big difference in each round. You just take out a couple of drones, you make the drone economy suffer, and you make Team MystiC struggle to get that information and use that information to turn it into an execute. That's the middle point in the round, the shift from map control to actual site push that a lot of teams struggle with. And if they're not a team that generally struggles with it, you can force that upon them by making their information game suffer. And that's definitely in the intent of these picks, of the Mute and Mozzie in play. But the key here for them will be to not, or for Wichita Wolves, will be to make sure that they keep their guns, keep these players alive for these closing moments. Last time, 3 early kills were found, or 2 early kills onto both Twiz and TPA were found by Team MystiC, and that made their attack just so much easier. This round, we're going to have to see that correction.
Yeah, definitely. MystiC had some difficulty kind of reading into the crossfires held by Wichita, and that was good on them for being able to kind of expand their control and, you know, win out those gunfights. That's really what that round came down to, and now you can see a clear into Vault. It's going to be a vertical take for the Armory initiation bomb site, which Wichita have returned to, looking like they're trying to kind of change their fate on this bomb site. You can see TPA just whittling down at that intel game once again. He's going to be trying to keep himself in the back of the minds of the early entry attackers, but Gunner there holding another flank, and it's once again this kind of spread out push coming from Team MystiC, but no, Gunner actually able to take out TPA on a rotate. Morocco with a quick trade. Oh man, those bullet hole angles, they will get you. Morocco with another gunfight here on the yellow stairs, but it looks like Gunner is going to be there to try to go for a pincer. Senpai is going to be all alone in bathroom, but I mean, it can still be kind of anyone's game.
It is still, and oh my word, what are you doing, Morocco? Morocco's gonna go for just the ballsiest play in the world and is gonna get punished for it. There goes Shu, he's gonna go for aggression as well. Gunner will punish that. Faded will find the response, however. So, not over yet for Wichita Wolves, but site control is something that is likely not gonna be in their hands for much longer. The toxic canisters expended, and that is something that will certainly help them out here. And actually, it seems that Team MystiC, they only have really one option, and that is sending it through this split door. At least that seems what their intent is here. Maybe this frag grenade can help them out. At least it will force Faded back, but this last toxic canister still in play, now finally clearing out so the push can come on through. The swing is there in split, but it's Feltwinter who gets taken down. Whitlock, though, finds the trade, and now Twiz is left all alone. Zeno closing that out. A nice shot there to finish out the round, giving it over to Team MystiC. So 2 successful attacking rounds. This time, less in the way of the vertical. There wasn't as much, let's say, loss of life from the Wichita Wolves on that top floor. That loss of life came instead by some odd aggressive decisions. One came on the way of Morocco going for the peek out of lockers, and another great kill came from TPA, honestly, or came against TPA. Good rotation cut off by Gunner using just the most ruthless bullet hole peek we have ever seen. Just holding that angle for a while.
I think my VMix call dropped out for a second, but I'm back. It is all good. But yeah, no, and especially that rotate at the end, you were almost right in that MystiC was almost forced to kind of funnel into the split door, but that rotate from Zeno to get that crossfire and help them whittle the defenders down to that 2v1, that was crucial to the end of the round, because at that point, you've basically got a crossfire on the last defender, and it's wraps from then on. Now, Team MystiC up on match point, doing well on their attacking half of Theme Park, and if I'm Wichita, I'm going to be having some serious changes I'll have to make, some thoughts, almost like you could use maybe a time to, I don't know, stop the game for a short period of time and, you know, talk to your teammates about the strategies. It's almost
only
like,
if that were a thing.
I know, right? If I wish maybe in online matches you could, I don't know, what is it, like, stop the time, pause the timer?
Oh.
maybe.
Oh.
And then you would unmute the coaches in their Discord channels, and then you could actually talk to them. That would be great. That'd be so cool. But Wichita not opting to do that. Instead, they're just gonna play it through. Maybe they don't have a coach.
Yeah, maybe it's simply just a run and gun kind of day for them. And I think that last round was, I mean, we did see running and gunning, and it didn't work at all. We're going to have to see a pretty big change here from Wichita Wolves if they're going to want to pull this one out. We're going to see some early fights taken by Gunner already, and a player, that's going to be Shu, willing to contest that angle. So early gunfights here, which could not be said for the first half of things, where it all was unfolding just so damn slowly. But overall, this particular round is unfolding just in the way that it did on the other half. You've got the Ash, in this case it's Feltwinter, not TPA, coming from below, dealing with that Electro Claw, so now Rexavy can walk on in and throw those Selma charges down. That's going to be your office pressure, now fully building. Now your next step, the one that Whitlock and now Rexavy and Xeno will be undertaking, is clearing out initiation as well. They've got a deployable shield, multiple ADSs to clear on out, the flash dump, and now the nades will come on through to deal with that very piece of utility. Now the wall is still electrified, and there's also mute jammers in play, so that's something to be wary of if you're Team MystiC, but they've done a great job so far, now with about half the round gone, to actually get this progress going. You've got Gunner using this cache breach to get a good cross angle, a pretty good line of sight to eliminate any sort of rotations around through waiting room. He will fall off that angle, and actually at probably the least opportune moment, because I believe Twiz is flirting with that angle in just a moment there, but nothing too crazy yet. Still a minute to go. This one is really slowed on down, and it's going to be what looks like a pretty late round execute.
That's potentially true. It looks like MystiC, however, are going to start things off. Rexavy on a Twizzler, now in a 5v4 advantage for the attack. And it looks like even though the time is ticking down, they do have enough time to make sure they're confident in their angles and their pushes. You can see Senpai over there by the vault. He could end up being a thorn in the side of the attackers. That smoke canister as well from Faded is going to come out to delay any pushes. But again, here is Gunner on a rotate. He'll see the Jaeger, and it's an easy headshot. No contest there. He'll look for another, but not quite find it. And now it's all up to the plant. It's going to start going down. 16 seconds left, and a quick response from Faded onto Feltwinter. Gunner, however, responding back with a double, and there's 10 seconds left. Shu finally coming out of that vault spot to get a kill onto somebody, and Faded as well onto Xeno, but it's a 2v1 for the attack. Can they get the plant down in time? 0-0. They will contest that timer. Rexavy on the diffuser. It will go down, giving the attackers that little bit of breathing room, and Senpai on a very low sliver of HP. Any bullet will kill him at this point. Now, it's a bit of a stalemate. The attackers holding a great crossfire. It is not looking good for Shu here. And he'll go out for a peek, but he's nervous with the amount of HP he has, and it's an easy pickup for Whitlock. Team MystiC closing out the first map of Theme Park 6-3. Pretty sure. 6-3.
7-3, yeah.
7-3.
Great job there from Team MystiC to close it out. The 7-3 decisive win. So in our book, that is the full 3 points allocated for map 1 in this series. Now that last round, it was looking all Team MystiC until the moment where Faded went for that swing to shut down the plant, and it was just so close from working out. You forced the planter to get off the plant, get his head back up, and actually take a gunfight, one that nearly caused the clock to fully expire, but there were 2 seconds left by the time the dust settled. And like you said, Crater, that left Shu alone with very low HP and nothing much that they could do. So a great performance from Team MystiC overall. A strong 7-3 win on Theme Park. Early rounds, it was looking like the Wichita Wolves were going to contest this series, or at least this map, and make it pretty spicy. But as soon as Team MystiC just got to the attacking half, they wasted no time in running away with it and taking that victory.
Yeah, I mean, 2 seconds was left on the clock, but 2 seconds was all they needed. These rounds, however, it felt like it kept coming down to the wire so many times. I mean, it would be like we would think one team has all the setups, all the crossfires, and it was ready to go, and all of a sudden gunfights start happening and it goes the complete other direction. I will say, however, Team MystiC gatekeepers, they did deliver. It was a fun first map, and I mean they did take it pretty decisively. Sorry, Chief, just didn't work out. But I'm really excited to see how they're going to kind of keep that going on Clubhouse, or will Wichita be able to come back?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the stats that we'll pull up in just a moment to look at how these teams actually, you know, how it all shook out at the end of the day. I think that overall, the Wichita Wolves, they put up a strong performance, especially those early rounds, like I already highlighted, but it just wasn't all there. And Team MystiC, after that, the big, you know, pivot point in that round was when the Wichita Wolves walked into Cafe on that initiation and office, the bunk and daycare hold, and they just walked into a hungry Team MystiC, and Team MystiC just fried them all, even before they could get in the building. And that was a turning point, not only in the round, but in the confidence of Team MystiC, and we saw it just ramp up throughout the entire series. They were swinging more things. They even, you know, got a little bit fun in the chat, telling Faded to stop swinging on the smoke. I mean, that's just the kind of gatekeepers confidence that we've been seeing so far this season, and that we're very familiar to see. And going into Clubhouse, which is going to be our next map, where Team MystiC, they wanted to go here tonight, I think that could be even more favoring this MystiC team. However, maybe the one saving grace for the Wichita Wolves is that Theme Park is a more, I'd argue, a looser map in terms of where the defenders can position, and it allows really strong gunners on the defensive team, no pun intended, to really light up the scoreboard. And Clubhouse is a little bit more just strat focused, right? It's a little bit more withheld in terms of the overall antics that you can actually get. And maybe that kind of formulaic style is exactly what the Wichita Wolves need to pull out the win, or at the very least send it to overtime.
Yeah, I mean, Theme Park is, I guess Twitter probably knows by now, a lot of teams felt it more difficult to play, especially difficult to attack, which is why MystiC had such a decisive advantage at the beginning of that game. Clubhouse, however, it's been defender-sided. It has shifted. As we pull up the stats, thank you for that, to the SCS stats team, as well as Ferme, our wonderful producer. But yeah, Clubhouse is going to be a lot more comfortable. So we'll see how that turns out. But we got to take a look at these stats. Whitlock, a 1.75 rating, +8 on his kills to deaths, and a 100% cost. Every single round, Whitlock has been there contributing to the outcome.
Oh yeah. Really impressive stuff there. And I mean, this is a good opportunity to actually talk about Faded, the player that we highlighted coming into the match, the hard support player who's done a great job of staying out of the entry category, just playing their game. And, you know, they were hanging around the middle of the stats, even with that hard support role. But you can just, I mean, just taking a look at these stats in front of you here of the Wichita Wolves, you can pretty much see why this went so wrong. None of their usual fraggers were able to light up the scoreboard, and Faded, the man on hard support, who's not supposed to be the one with the most kills and the one with the best rating, happens to be that player. So I think that is just indicative of why things went wrong here for the Wichita Wolves, and I think something they're going to have to evaluate and clean up on Clubhouse.
I mean, it's definitely not a end-all, be-all, but it is a good indication. The fact that, you know, your Jaeger Zof is 4th place on the leaderboard, that really shouldn't be happening. But I think we do have a break coming up soon. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back with some more SCS Esports Team MystiC versus Wichita Wolves on Clubhouse. Don't go anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. CDAPS is here. Devin is gone. So sad. The producer turned caster. He actually did a really good job. But CDAPS, it's good to have you back on the desk.
Yeah, I mean, I got some times confused. I had some games swapped around and completely my fault. And big shout out to Devin Greaterhoot for making sure that my mistake was not one that negatively impacted the broadcast. Speaking of the broadcast, we do have the games right down below us. You got the map band, so we know map 1's done and dusted. That was Wichita Wolves' map choice. However, Team MystiC, formerly Gatekeepers, did just kind of come out and make a gigantic statement by winning 7-3. That's about as big of a statement as you can make. Now we're going to be headed over to their map choice of Clubhouse, and it has me a little bit alarmed for Wichita Wolves' safety.
Yeah, this is the point of concern for them. It's got to really all get buttoned up here if they want to find success. I mean, we were talking about it just before the break, how we were taking a look at the stats, and we saw that there was very little promise for Wichita Wolves because Faded, their hard support player, was the one with the most kills. Everyone else wasn't able to step up into their normal role or really maintain that positive rating. So you can really see that all across the stats for them. And for the side of Team MystiC, they were at their usual just competitive and insane nature. Whitlock and Gunner at the top of the leaderboard. Whitlock 100% cost. So these players making their impact for sure.
Yeah, I love Whitlock. Whitlock is a great player, and you still have a great supporting cast with him, with Rex, Beltwinter, just the whole crew on Gatekeepers. Now I'm gonna keep on calling them Gatekeepers because it's still a little bit strange in my head that they are picked up by Team MystiC. You know, it's a recent development. I get a little bit of a buffer zone to go through, but they're a good team. They're scary. They have come together at the right time. They have all their right pieces, and also they're playing in the DZ Pro-Am. So
yes, they are.
We still get a little bit more of them to come, but what matters more is the here and now, the present, as the band phase are going to roll across your screen. Thatcher going down first, not surprising, and the Queen of Hatches herself, Habana, will also be sidelined for the remainder of this map and series. Nothing really surprising. The Mavericks left up, which means you don't necessarily have to ban the Kaid, and impact tricking is not really going to be that prevalent if the applied vertical pressure on the basement bomb site is put through by a sledge or a buck inside a kitchen. So Habana is just insanely strong with getting all of the hatches open for those basement defenses. So that's pretty much why she gets removed. There'll still probably be an ace and thermite duo. A lot of teams do like to bring two hard breachers, especially for split takes on the top CCTV, which are a lot easier to take construction when you don't have to worry about vault cams with people constantly flanking you, and mirror windows, just making it very hard to push into the map control that you want.
Well, we also, something I've talked about at great length, CDAPS, is I really love to see the Maverick Habana ban combo. I love to see the Thatcher on the board because it's just a clubhouse that we don't get to see very often, and on a map that we see pretty much every single series, it's good to see the more unusual strategies, at least the more interesting ways that a map can unfold. And when you have the Thatcher in play, and when you have generally that lends itself to more active bandit tricking, a lot more focus on that CCTV and cache wall. We'll see the Capital come out. We'll see so much a shift in the sort of utility that the attackers and the defenders both bring together. We're not going to see that here tonight, which is unfortunate, but we are going to see a pretty familiar clubhouse, at least. We're going to be definitely aware of how these generally are going to shake out. You do have the buck in play in place of the sledge. It appears that Whitlock will be making that decision, but those two operators, they play a very similar role here. Your job is to remove the entire floor from the kitchen and from that main stairs hallway so you can extend that vertical pressure onto the bomb site and make those arsenal executes even easier. The Goyo in play, you're putting a Goyo shield on the dummy's box there, so that will put more pressure on that kitchen hatch drop, as will the Goyo shield in the middle of that hallway. But for the most part, nothing super unusual here. You've got the Jaeger and the Wamai combo coming out, so more utility to support those Goyo shields and those really strong power positions that you're going to hold, not to mention that deployable shield that Faded is bringing, facing the church wall. And a portion of that wall has actually been left unreinforced so that they can have an active watch on the bottom of main stairs.
Yeah, when you break down this defense, it's strong. It's a very bunker, just turtle strat. Everybody on site, not really any roam presence because they're trying to add layers upon layers of complexity for Team MystiC to inevitably have to break through on. And speaking of breaking through, that's exactly what the Buck of Whitlock is doing. He's quite prolific on the Canadian, is making quick work of all the soft flooring, which now is the roof for people such as Morocco, who's going to be shooting straight back. Whitlock takes a lot of damage out, down to about 25 HP, but he's still alive and kicking, his utility being so incredibly impactful for the side of Team MystiC's attack. If he goes down, it's
well, I lost you there for a moment, so yeah,
I'm
not sure if that's you or me, but I will proceed with this one for a moment. The kills have gone down. Felt Winter is the first player to fall here. TPA getting the opening kill for the map. So you're losing your Ash. Not too big of a deal now that you still have one impact from the Zofia and those Selma charges, but you definitely didn't want to lose those breaching rounds when the Goyo shields were still in play. And Gunner now getting into an engagement here with the player on the generator. A swing from Shu, ill-timed to say the least, and Gunner will collect the kill. Morocco looking to potentially answer back, but it appears that Gunner has slowly backed off this angle, heading back towards Oil Pit, and is going to rotate on around. But with 50 seconds to go, this site still very much on lock here for Wichita Wolves. Team MystiC, they definitely got to get this execute going. They do have the kitchen hatch opened up, so that'll definitely be their point of entry.
Yeah, this is going to be a late drop kind of beat, especially when Rexv is going to be the one rotating over to the backside towards blue. You already have all the pieces set up. You have somebody down main, and as soon as you get blue control and are able to cut down the rotations from dirt, then everything's in place. But the Toxic Babe Cancer is now stopping this, is only going to be compounded more by Rexv falling at the hands of Morocco. No longer with the man advantage. Team MystiC is going to have a pretty rough time. An attempted hash drop coming in, is Faded swinging out, but he's right into the loving arms of Whitlock, who's actually going to go for two. Goodbye TPA. A double kill for Whitlock, and it make that a triple kill. He just keeps on going like the Energizer Bunny. Gunner falls to the hands of Twizzler. But he's the last remaining member of Wichita Wolves. He has to go in sooner rather than later. He sees the foot and he's swinging pre-firing, but it doesn't matter as Zeno with the AK-12 says goodbye. Team MystiC, even though it didn't look that pretty, come in with a strong execute and take the round handily.
Yeah, wow. Job well done there from pretty much just Whitlock, covering every single possible angle from the hatch above. Stellar coverage of the planter. Zeno able to get that off safely, and Team MystiC able to take a round that it looked like they had no business winning at all. Really great comeback in that one, and yeah, Whitlock just lighting up the scoreboard and tearing off the heads of any Wichita Wolves defender who was willing to swing that angle. So a great adjustment, and a great job for them to take the round overall. It was looking so good for the Wichita Wolves. They'd wasted so much time. And the Toxic Babes, there was still one more left. That was something we did miss. A swing came out from the smoke without being covered by a Toxic Babe, which is unfortunate because it was that decision that likely cost the smoke the round. Because, sure, that might not have been a gunfight that was going to be won in that situation by the man with the SMG-11 on the swing from dirt, but at the very least, that Toxic Canister could have forced off Zeno from the plant and really allowed the rest of the defenders on that swing into sight to possibly avoid the death from above that Whitlock was delivering. Of course, hindsight 2020, so we're going to say that now, but in the moment it was one of those 50-50 decisions that it just wasn't made on the side of Wichita Wolves, and Team MystiC, they surely capitalized on it, waiting for your pretty typical 15-second hatch drop to get the plant down.
Yeah, I think what it came down to is, sure, the Toxic Babe Cancers were really good and would have been able to get the player off the plant, but there was also a Malusi and a Goyo on the board, and they have things called nitro cells, and that's what I believe should have been thrown in the direction of Zeno as he was planting, but they were used a little bit earlier trying to stop the vertical pressure, and it ended up biting them in the butt. But c'est la vie, so is life. Now we're actually going to see a completely different bomb site coming out. Wichita Wolves continuing the rotation like most good teams do. We're going to get to see CCTV. The Goyo still on the field. It's going to allow the construction extension of Shu and Morocco to have a little bit more. Oh, and TPA. TPA's over there too. They got 3 men. It's even more people being supplemented by shields, lots of rotate holes, lots of now drones on the side of Team MystiC who have a pretty good idea of what they're pushing into and are going to be trying their best to break down every single piece that Wichita Wolves have allocated over on this side. The way most teams take CCTV is you get the breach open, then you get the construction double wall opened up, and you have kind of a 2-prong attack. Somebody on the balcony, or the platform as most people call it, of CCTV can just hold any rotations from rafters and make sure that nobody can just walk straight through the bomb site. You can either get a default plant if you remove that player from rafters, or a green box or calc table plant if you just absolutely destroy any extension or anything for the side of the defense. And that's going to be a lot more difficult when you don't have a soft breacher. TPA getting a wonderful first frag, and Whitlock, of all people, is definitely one you want to cross off the list early.
Yeah, Team MystiC are running the risk of walking into their 6-foot graves here, walking into a very hard hold of this master bedroom side. Feltwinter is finally going to rid that side of the map of TPA's presence, but you still have Shu to deal with, who's playing in construction very firmly. So is Morocco, refusing to leave, and this could be promising for them, but not if Rexaby is going to line up a kill. Feltwinter going to present him his feet to the waiting arms of Shu, getting a kill there, but Rexaby on the coverage from the window is going to get a double, now taking Team MystiC to the advantage position. Twiz and Faded left to clutch this one up, but they are definitely a bit isolated from one another. Faded on the top of red stairs, Twiz playing on the garage rafters, and Gunner the player to walk into their sight line in just a moment. But the diffuser in the hands of Zeno is coming in from that cash side. And a cash execute is what Team MystiC have planned, but it's one that is shut down by Twiz here. A good long angle found, and now a C4 is going to force Zeno to go on the hunt for the kill, and the AK-12 will find its target true. Twiz now all that is left to get this retake going. The coverage from the platform from Gunner is there, and Team MystiC will take round 2, another back and forth round, but pulling it out nonetheless.
Yeah, Gunner played platform perfectly. There was absolutely nothing that the Raptors player could do. Crossing CCTV is a gunfight that is so difficult to go through because the breach, it's a giant platform that they can hold pretty much any angle, and you don't exactly know where to swing. You can even just be shot by somebody with just the top of their head shown from being on rappel. But, you know, Gunner was loud and proud. He was just standing in the middle, knowing that eventually the Wamai is going to have to make a play. There was not a whole lot Twizzler could do, as he once again was just thrown into a disadvantageous clutch or die situation, which at the end of the day, you don't expect him to win, and it's really unfortunate that the player on top red being Faded was also thrown into a 1v1 against the AK-12 at mid to closest range. That Zeno's very comfortable with the weapon, and he's only going to get the frags that he needs to, as evident by being 2-0. Still getting a plant down, because that's his job as the hard breach after all. Didn't really even need to get his second plant. Sure would have looked nice on the stats, but when the rest of your roam clear on the backside looked so nice, you were stuck in a 2v2 situation that, even though on paper it looked in theory even, the positions of Team MystiC were just so much more advantageous. The two players of Wichita Wolves were just left alone on islands, completely isolated, and had to take disadvantageous gunfights as a result.
Yeah, the one other thing that I'll highlight from Wichita Wolves there, it was so promising in the early round, and we don't often see such a heavy hold of the master side. They had 3 players, construction, master bedroom, and logistics, all holding off the push from that jacuzzi side. But what happened there was, after the early pick, the classic problem of overstaying their welcome got the better of them. I'm not sure what the play was and why 2 players chose to just sit in construction. I believe that was Morocco and Morocco and Shu. They were left holding down construction, kind of pinned in a corner, which is simply a death trap, and that's about it. Sure, they were able to find some kills, but they pretty much got themselves killed in the process. And that's something that you have to consider when you're going for these big, grandiose extensions. How long do you want to stay there, and how risky is that going to be, especially when you get later in the round? Early on in this one, though, not waiting any longer to find an early kill is Whitlock, now finding the 4th kill and taking down TPA. Twiz just missed a huge opportunity, looking away and choosing just the worst time to back off that angle because Rexavy presented his whole back to the Goyo.
Yeah, that's what I was going about. That was such unfortunate timing coming out of the Kaid, or pardon me, I was Twizzler. He's the Goyo. I don't know why I said Kaid, because why would you bring Kaid when there's just a Maverick? Unless your name is Max and you're a Kaid Crutch, doesn't really matter. But now Shu's actually going to go massive inside of Blue. Gunner and Feltwinter both getting put into body bags. And that makes this execute for Team MystiC so much more difficult. Those are both of your players that are designed to cut rotations and just be passive enough while having Wichita Wolves feel your pressure, that you're going to have to go for a completely different execute. They cannot drop hatch. They're going to have to go for a moto and triple wall. They have all the pieces opened up with still about 45 seconds left to work some picks, gather some intel, exactly what Whitlock is doing as he is just so close on the door. And now Rexavy, right on the other side of barbed wire, is just waiting to get the confidence because he knows that there's a demon named Shu inside of Blue. But now as Whitlock goes into sight, it's a double kill in his favor as Twizzler will go down. Rexavy has relocated himself to the hatch. And a Toxic Babe canister is going to force Whitlock to relocate and know that, yes, there's still Shu inside of Blue, but no longer. A triple kill in his favor now as he continues to try to bring it forward. But now Morocco and Faded both pick up a kill, and Whitlock is the last one. A flurry of headshots going into the favor of Wichita Wolves is that they get their first defensive round off of the back of really good Blue pressure and not faltering when Whitlock started to turn it up.
Honestly, another back and forth round. These have all been pretty great rounds, but this time it's Wichita Wolves, the ones who come out on top. The big moment in that one was Rexavy pushing in from Blue, and he couldn't decide whether to shoot the Vulcan shield or shoot the player playing in back of Armory. An unfortunate miscalculation, shot the Goyo shield first, missed, tried to transfer to the player, and lost out the gunfight. So those small little things, they'll catch up to you in the end, as they did for Team MystiC. Morocco was allowed to go big, getting a double kill on the Church retake and winning out the round for the Wichita Wolves. So they'll find their first defensive round win here on Clubhouse. It came late, but it's not too late for them to still salvage this half. Team MystiC have only found 2 rounds. Wichita Wolves still get the rest of these and emerge with that 4-2 split, or at the very least get that 3-3 split that is still an acceptable defensive performance. But right now, they have got to start racking up these rounds very quickly because Team MystiC, you know how aggressive they can be, how confident they can be, and if you allow them to get that momentum in their hands, well, they will definitely punish you for that one. We're heading back upstairs to CCTV and Cash, and all eyes are going to be on how this master extension unfolds. If there will be one, if there's going to be this aggressive roam, how long are TPA and Morocco actually going to stay and contest on this west side take?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Wichita Wolves will be their adjustment to understanding how Team MystiC are going to take their attacks. Last time, they sent pressure into Master, sure, and it made TPA and a couple other people a little bit uncomfortable, but the main dagger was Rexavy on the CC and construction window, cutting their fall-offs and really just entrapping all of those players to the only place that they could get back in was if they were able to sneak on by and try to get inside of the Sheet's door. That just wasn't in the cards as he was just too quick on the trigger, and it allowed just the rest of his team to kind of funnel back the roamers right into his loving arms and get a beautiful roam clear of 3 people with minimal sort of casualties. Now on the side of MystiC, they don't seem to be going for a full horizontal clear once again. They want to start pressuring Twizzler out of rafters because he was a problem and could have, in theory, stopped the cross of the cache doorway that allowed Xeno to get into the bomb site. And that's why they're allocating so many resources, drones, and bullets over his direction. Twizzler's definitely starting to feel a little bit of uncomfortable actions. You know, Gunner's pre-firing away. Feltwinter, Zeno, and Rexavy are all down below. It's a full garage clear, and as soon as you show your head, Feltwinter is going to take it straight off, and boom. Raptors control goes in the hands of Team MystiC, because now they're knocking on the door of the bomb site.
Yeah, instead of going for this full west side clear, it's just a full, like, 90-degree crossfire established, and what could be a pretty aggressive take. They've got Diffuser already up in Raptors 90 in the hands of Zeno, and they could be looking to get a plant down here. Shu tempting a possible flank, but seeing that drone and seeing the sightline coming out from Feltwinter, that is not going to be possible. A nice kill there for the Ash. Whitlock gonna line up another. Gunner gonna capitalize again, and Gunner going to deliver the flawless round for Team MystiC, lining up the head of TPA. Team MystiC changing up their attacking strategy, but a perfect adaptation that resulted in a clean round.
Yeah, I don't know if you've necessarily noticed it, but both attacking sides for both bomb sites, Team MystiC has whipped out a different attack, which is really interesting because they're still being successful. And for me, that's the ultimate flex in showing that, yes, we know Clubhouse. This is our map choice. We feel comfortable on it because they can do it multiple ways. For CCTV, they had the back roam clear, and it was the exact same strat that they came up against once again. And they decided, let's just do a garage take. We still got that in our repertoire. Wichita Wolves are going to get caught pretty off guard with how aggressive and clean our rafters clear is going to be. Twizzler didn't really have a chance. He was just had 5 guns trained on him, and Nade was being cooked. All of his utility burned away. His wall that presumably for him is left hard and is not exposing him to Gunner, who you don't want to be exposed to on plat wall, was opened up from a Selma charge, and he was just left for dead. He was completely cut off. He was left on an island, and his name's not Gilligan, so he wasn't surviving for very long. And now, as all those pieces came together, they just flooded onto site, won every gunfight, and looked pretty damn good while doing so. Now, Wichita Wolves are going to be swapping onto Gym and Bedroom, the tertiary bomb site, where now if they don't win this round, it's going to not be looking that great for Wichita Wolves. However, Clubhouse is a map that has definitely transitioned into more of a 3-3 territory. It's not a surprising scoreline to see by any stretch of the imagination, but that will require Wichita Wolves to be flawless from now on.
They definitely don't want to be in that position, and I think I will agree with what you said, CDAPS. This is probably the moment where if they lose out this round, and especially the next one, I think this one could be open and shut for Team MystiC here. They are going for another Rafters clear, and this time, because the site is a little bit further away, this early clear isn't going to get much but map control. But now from here, their next step is to clear out cache. That's going to be Shu and TPA holding this one down with their lives. So much utility, ADSs and Wamai magnets, and these Malusi Banshees.
No.
Oh my goodness. The Maverick coming from behind, opening up that hole, giving Feltwinter the kill. Shu finds one in response, but Feltwinter, just these tiny little Maverick holes, is going to get a double kill and dismantle the cache hold within the first 60 seconds of the round, leaving 3 defenders left to hold down this bomb site. Great job there for Team MystiC so far. The next step, just to pummel themselves on into this bomb site. Are they going to go for this jacuzzi wall? It seems that finally you're going to get Rexaby to rotate around and begin the Maverick trick to put the pressure on from all of these angles.
Yeah, it's once again the same principle of just applying pressure on 2 different sides, as inevitably your execute is just going to be running in from construction and trying to plant either on the door or behind the mattress next to like that weird generator table. But that also is going to require removing Twizzler from the power position of bathroom. Faded also has a nice crossfire, and Morocco sitting inside the Logi cache area, I guess. There's a lot of gold, there's a lot of money, but speaking of money, that's a money shot for Twizzler, as Feltwinter will go down, and so will Zeno. Beautiful shots from the SMG-11, bringing Wichita Wolves back into the round, swinging the man count into their favor, as well as dropping Diffuser Now it's up to Whitlock and Rexavy. Rexavy not doing too hot, but he's still going to be taking shots over towards Twizzler, making sure that everything stays even Steven at 2-2. However, Morocco's going to be the most dangerous player. He's still sitting on this A-bomb chassis. Now Fade is going to take a little bit of damage because Whitlock's just jumped in, but they didn't know the man was on the bomb chassis. Morocco swings out at the right time, picks up both kills, and Wichita Wolves take round 5.
Hey, great job there from Wichita to really bring that one back, and not only within the round, but potentially a turning point in the map. You know, they only need one more round to fully equalize the 3-3 split, and like you highlighted earlier, CDAP's a split that is pretty common for this map nowadays with the changes to Jaeger, changes to Wamai, the Habana buff, so many things just stacking up in the attacker's favor recently, something that we may even see more of in the coming patch, in the coming season. So I think it's good. I think it's an overall good change to see more fast-paced action, quicker executes, a lot more just aggressive maneuvering from the attacking teams. At the same time, you do risk kind of a breakdown of the methodical defensive and big brain setups from the defense and big brain strategies from the attackers. But I'm certain that after people get used to the meta, that is something that we will see come, you know, more, it'll be fully developed, and we'll be able to see some pretty, really big brain attacks, even if they are a lot quicker.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, with all the changes, that Clubhouse has just become the great equalizer. It's a perfectly balanced map that just every team should have in their repertoire, which means that it just allows the better team to typically win on the map. So I'm a big fan of Clubhouse. I really like it. I think it is just a core of competitive Rainbow Six Siege at this point, and still does have just enough variety, especially on this downstairs basement bomb site. This is the one that, you know, you can really start varying up your style. Sure, last time they were fully turtle stratted up on Wichita Wolves front, but now they actually have a little bit of roam presence. We saw TPA and Twizzler both kind of hovering over towards top main, not necessarily knowing if they want to push forward and go on the full roam, make Team MystiC do their due diligence and go on a full roam clear. But it does seem, as evident by the outlines, you know, the special wall hacks that us casters are given by the observers, that yes, you can count all of the orange lines and see that, yeah, all the Wichita Wolves are back downstairs. They extended for just a bit and decided, don't really want it. We value the map control downstairs a little bit more. We know that Team MystiC are eventually going to clear us out, and we would rather have 5 people on site to just dump utility, try to stop any hatch drops, try to stop any, you know, triple wall breaching, which now one of those walls is opened up. Means that as Zeno calls this out to his team, there might be a little bit of a change-up coming out of Team MystiC's lineup. However, right now, they haven't really shown the same attacking strat twice, so I don't know what's on the table fully.
Yeah, they haven't really shown their hand in this round either. Still going through their first early steps, pressuring from the vertical play-in kitchen, working, you know, getting these hatch opened up, but they haven't really committed to one way or another yet. The presence of Rexavy on the bottom of main stairs could mean they're eager to get open this church wall and go for something of a church take. You throw those Selma charges down and you can, you know, get that wall open pretty soon. You only have 2 impacts in the hand of TPA, so if TPA is not in the right position, that wall should be relatively easy to open up. But Twiz, oh, what a shot there through the wall on Rexavy. That's perfect. And that is going to give Wichita Wolves the edge, although Twiz is now down to about 25 HP. Oh, here comes Gunner on the sneak play, comes up behind and gets the back of Twiz. Now a double kill, looking for the TPA, and that's going to give Team MystiC the edge they need. He's going to eat a face of this toxic smoke, and he's going to be forced to back off into Moto, but now Zeno is going to run on through and go for this plant. Whitlock on the long angle coverage, so is Gunner, cutting down the head of Morocco, leaving Faded and Shu all alone to bring this one back. Faded on the play-in main stairs in the main hallway, joined by Shu here on the swing. They'll go back and forth, but it's Whitlock who lines them both up, and Team MystiC, a clean round 6.
Yeah, definitely a really clean line round 6. And I think it all came down to the aggression of Gunner just kicking down the door of the Wichita Wolves defense and allowing his teammates to get inside the bomb site. If you noticed, you saw Feltwinter on the drone inside of blue, and that was the information that Gunner needed, that no, the blue player is not watching the head holes. I can just walk in Moto door for absolutely free an obliterated Twizzler, who was just kind of not expecting somebody to be inside of the bomb site, because typically one of your teammates would be covering that from blue, but that coverage of his flank was something that he took for granted and was punished accordingly. And then Gunner just kind of held the rotation. Everybody that tried to touch Double Door and get the rotation inside of Church from Armory was immediately cut down. And then Whitlock from main, you know, he's on the buck. He's on his favorite operator. He's always going to hit those shots. A beautiful one from downtown as he went right over that shield. Not necessarily the easiest thing to do with the C8. That kicks just a little bit, but at the end of the day, that half is over, and 4-2 MystiC split for their attacks have them looking and sitting pretty.
Sitting pretty indeed, and they're bringing out the Aruni, so they'll be keeping things nice and loose on the defensive side as well. Aruni, as most of you know now, is allowed in our current competitive pool in SCS. We've made the decision to allow both Aruni and Tachanka to get this play right or early on in the group stage. We didn't want a situation where they were kind of thrown in the middle of the season and totally shook up the way these games play out. And that is something that they still do right now. Not many teams are familiar with the intricacies of these Surya gates and of the Shumika launcher, although we haven't seen that more than once or twice. But the Biruni is a pick that really adds to that utility consumption meta that is so common on this map. We're not seeing the Wamai, though. It's just going to be the Jaeger and those Surya gates combined. So you've got a little bit of both worlds. You're losing out on some impacts that the Wamai could bring, opting for barbed wire instead. So I am interested to see exactly the play here for Team MystiC and how they want to work around those, you know, laser doorways or laser hatch drops. One of those has been put on this kitchen hatch. One of them, trying to figure out where they all are placed. One on the door. Oh, no. That's a nice C4 there, and look who's dead. That's your Sledge. No vertical play for you. No vertical play either. More confirmed now that Morocco is dead. And Twizzler is precariously close to his death as well.
Yeah,
there it is.
And you called it perfectly. Xeno, with the perfect Toxic Babe canister placement, will remove Twizzler off the board, leaving just Faded and TPA in a 5v2. Not a single point of damage has been done to a single Team MystiC player, and now as the foot is narrowly missed by TPA on the vertical angle, that trend is going to continue. Wichita Wolves are definitely not in a great spot. It's still winnable because, you know, you have the hatch open, so you have a little bit of hope. You have a shining ray glimmering down, but speaking of that, Gunner's just going to cram that shut and hit another absolute heater onto Faded. A double kill into his favor as the flawless round goes the way of Team MystiC. You have to wonder, how do they keep doing it?
That's a fantastic question. The aggression, the confidence, it's just clearly there for Team MystiC. They wasted no time in that round to just obliterate the attackers as they walked on in. The C4 kill, then 2 kills on the dirt push. Just an excellent job all around. And you know, tie it off, wrap it in a nice little bow with Gunner just frying 2 people on the main stairs flank. So a lot of different things going in the favor there for Team MystiC and the Wichita Wolves. This is looking even scarier by the minute, sitting at 5-2, a 3-round deficit, and they are on attack. This is normally a scoreline you might see on the other side with the team who came out so strong on defense on that first half to have such a lead as of this. But Team MystiC, they had an attacking squad that was ready to go as well, and just based on that first defensive round, seems that they know how to defend this side of the coin as well. So 1 round away from possible match point here. The Wichita Wolves, they need to get something going as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's still not over, because just as easily as Team MystiC were looking pretty dominant on their attacks, so can the Wichita Wolves, especially if they're a strong top floor attacking team, which most teams do have a lot more comfort attacking CCTV as opposed to downstairs. You know, basement is a delicate art of walking the fine line in absolute chaos towards the backside execute or just systematically getting picks depending on the setup of the defense for Team MystiC. You know, it didn't have that many roamers initially. Then all of a sudden, Whitlock and Gunner just walked up blue stairs and decimated everybody. And that's something that Wichita Wolves are definitely going to be kicking themselves out, because Clubhouse is a map that you don't really bring Nomad to cut rotations, because the rotations are so limited that you can have cutoff drones, you can have just people watch the flanks. But now that Whitlock is dead, all the way from Timbuktu, you know, all the way from Sudan, I guess, anywhere in Northern Africa. Very long range kill going on to Whitlock as he tried to rotate inside of construction. That angle will also net a whole lot of damage onto Feltwinter.
Not the cleanest Maverick trick I've ever seen. Such a poor impact trick, in fact, that Rexavi is gonna just end the life of Twiz, and honestly, Twiz just might be glad to be done with this wall. I mean, look at that abomination of an opening, and that means you're not gonna get that wall open, at least for now. Faded can use those Selma charges, and I think he has, but no, they're gonna actually be on this construction wall. So they only have this one avenue to approach from. One of those impacts was able to remove at least one Selma charge, but this second one will detonate, and that means it's not over yet for Team Wichita Wolves here. They can still push on in from this construction side, but they're gonna seriously have to regroup and recalculate their approach. An ill-timed swing from Gunner, that's gonna end with his loss of life, but Feltwinter is quick to find the blow back in response. So keeping things even in a 3v3, as now we can see the outlines here. Our wall hacks tell us that Wichita Wolves, they are fully rotating and have fully rotated to the construction side and the side of this CCTV window. It's gonna have to be an all-out send because their avenues of attack now are very limited.
Yeah, they're gonna have to go straight in this breach or cross the doorway, which will be a death sentence if Rexavi on his long angle is going to net the damage. Zeno has fallen off. He's actually down below with a shotgun, but it's gonna be Rexavi swinging up to take out Morocco, dropping the diffuser down onto the couch table. But now as Faded is able to pick up Feltwinter, it's a 2v2. It's still winnable. TPA inside of the bomb site knows that Rexavi's just around the corner and Zeno does lie below. Attempted wallbangs coming out of the pings from the Maestro cams. Hasn't quite netted any information yet.
Oh no!
But it's such an unfortunate shot from Rexavi whiffing. But do they know that Zeno's coming up the red staircase? A pre-fire will indicate that, yes, he's coming. But the second coming comes once again as a shotgun goes out, and it's actually gonna down Faded.
No way.
A beautiful clutch from Zeno as he's gonna do a little bit of BM. Get the defuse that he doesn't. It didn't seem like he was going to be able to get, but that SMG-11 and shotgun combination from that range had the gods smiling upon Team MystiC.
All right, that round, I'll admit, it was a little bit painful to watch at the very last.
That
few
round
moments.
was hard to follow. That was interesting.
It was all working out well for Team MystiC. They completely shut down the platform wall from being opened. Rexavi got the kill. No, that was the who got the kill? Who was the Wamai? Was that?
It was Rexavi.
It was Rexavi? Yeah, okay. So from Rafters, Rexavi shut down Twiz, who was trying to get the plat wall Maverick tricked unsuccessfully. So at that point, Wichita Wolves only had the one option, and that was full send from construction, because the last Selma charge they had, it was able to go off without getting impact tricked away. At that point, it was all looking up for Team MystiC until Rexavi just could not kill TPA through the wall. That was a big missed opportunity there for the typical just gunner. And all of a sudden,
the MP5K is a pea shooter, man.
I mean,
it gets the best of us. It gets
especially
the best
through
of us
the wall,
sometime. With
through
a
the wall
1.5,
blindly
it's just
against an R4C. But he had the opportunity there, and TPA somehow won that gunfight, giving what looked like a win for Wichita Wolves. They knew where the rotation was coming from below, and somehow, I mean, just what a clutch. I mean, just what a clutch.
Zeno moved at the speed of sound, going from the head holes to the rotate hole, and then just blasted TPA.
That was crazy.
At Mach 5.
5 seconds left before
Crazy stuff. I don't know how they pulled it off, but they're certainly happy that they did, and that means they're on match point now. It's 6-2. Score of last map was 7-3. This one looks like it might end even quicker. They do have to go to Gym and Bedroom. It's the tertiary bomb site, one that we haven't seen Team MystiC defend just yet. And you can already tell that The Wichita Wolves here, they are eager to get things going. You've already got Morocco just running straight up the rafters, a hot drone at the Zophia's feet here, just trying to clear out CC as quick as possible to get this cash extension dealt with.
And yeah, Whitlock just did that. I'm as surprised as you probably are at home watching that somebody was making bullet holes and he didn't like that. Actually, no, Zeno still had the garage cam, and that's going to allow Gunner to get a kill on Defaded too. Come on, that's default 101. That is Siege at its most primitive elementary level. Shoot the garage cam and don't give the free information to the defenders, who capitalized on it perfectly.
Not the best play from the Wichita Wolves there. Not a mistake they were looking to make with the match on the line, and this one is looking ever closer to its final moments. TPA, had he gotten that kill, that would have been pretty big. It would have meant that the cash extension would start to be crippled, but oh no, it's going to go the other way. Whitlock is going to find the kill and just hammer this one home for Team MystiC. You've got Shu and Twiz all alone to pull this one back. Looks like they spotted out Rexby there playing in logistics, but their mind will be set on doing something else. Thankfully, their only hope comes in the form of these two operators that they do have remaining. You haven't lost your Maverick. You still have that hard breach potential and the soft destruction of the breaching hammer, not to mention 2 frag grenades combined, is still in play. Gunner's going to hit it with the BM and hit it with a GG, but TPA is going to be there to respond as well. So they seem to agree what's going on here. But Twiz and Shu, they're looking to pull this one back. They still haven't given up hope.
Yeah, the attempted nade to break open the wall, but they're just going to be like fish inside a barrel. Feltwinter prone on these main stairs is just going to take a kill, and now it's all up to Shu in a 1v5. They know he's swinging and dropping the hatch, and Rexby will clean him up. Now GG's go across the chat. It was, as Gunner said, potentially, that is a hip-fire headshot. That is wow, Rexby is a blessed individual, but at the end of the day, you know, he stopped my train of thought with that shot, so yeah. But really well done by Team MystiC, as they looked so strong on Clubhouse. Their attacks, getting a 4-2, means that they're pretty prolific on the map, and then perfect site rotation allowed Team MystiC to win, and pretty handily 7-2, sweep up a full 6 points, and definitely have themselves set up for looking towards essentially clinching playoffs. I don't want to say anything too early, but they've taken off some pretty good teams in top 4 make it in, so they're trying to punch their ticket early. They're coming out the gate swinging, and they're looking pretty good while doing so.
Yeah, they are seriously looking good. I mean, it's been stylish, it's been fun. They have the confidence. They had really, I know you weren't here for theme park, but if you watched it, CDAPS, you saw honestly a surprising amount of discipline coming out from Team MystiC on defense. I really like to see it here. It didn't quite extend to Clubhouse because they were clearly feeling confident and they wanted to just, you know, wrap things up and, you know, shift their mind to the Pro-Am coming up, but they were pretty controlled. They didn't let any early misconceptions about the Wichita Wolves get in their head. They simply played their game, they played it slow, and they let themselves naturally build that confidence over time, and it was a really good thing to see from them. They continued that story on Clubhouse, and like you mentioned, they have definitely solidified their spot at the top of this group, punishing both Wichita Wolves and last week Aerial Arise also. So those are 2 impressive opponents to beat down.
Yeah.
Aerial Arise was able to walk away with 1 point, but still 5 points from that one, 6 points from this. I don't know if anybody can take these guys down.
Yeah, and I guess it's the new org effect as well. Going from Gatekeepers to Team MystiC, they had to show out for their new home and, you know, flex a little bit and be like, yeah, you made the right signing. And if I'm the CEO or owner of Team MystiC, I'm definitely sitting up in the booth just smiling, doing an evil. Yes, my team is so good because they look good. They're a great team. The Gatekeepers going through quals were a little bit of a pug stack, but then all of a sudden Whitlock joined the team, and he's the one that's really reining them in and keeping them nice and strong. And now we can transition over to the stats because we have those ready. Look at the beautiful graphic that's coming up on your screen. Gunner, Whitlock, Zeno, Rexavy, and Feltwinter. Guess what they all have in common?
Wow.
They're all at a positive rating.
Impressive. Very impressive stuff. Whitlock could not manage the 100% cost that he had on Theme Park, but everyone's still filling those shoes appropriately. I mean, this is your pretty standard look for Team MystiC here. Gunnar and Whitlock at the helm, just tearing people apart. Those fragger rolls working well. Zeno was insane this game as well. There were a couple of really key moments on that smoke that won the clutch on the CCTV cache site, what we just saw on the replay. And again, getting a double kill in dirt to lock down that basement bomb site as well. Last map, we talked a lot about Faded and how the whole roster of Wichita Wolves was not quite in their groove. This time, they performed, at least compared to each other, they performed a little bit more naturally, and I think what they're used to for the most part, but still, it just simply didn't help. We suggested that earlier as maybe this is what they need to do. They need to kind of let themselves get into their groove and find their natural roles like they had before, but it just could not be the case here. Gatekeepers, Team MystiC, they simply punished them at every turn.
Yeah, we can say that Team MystiC still kept the gates. They're still gatekeepers in their own regard. However, we do have a little bit of an interview coming in, and it's somebody I haven't gotten to talk to since RSA, and he goes by the name of Gunnar. Welcome,
What is
Gunnar.
up?
How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing pretty well. I didn't get to catch map 1 because I was in my bed asleep because my time was wrong, but that's why I'm going to toss it over to Jonah and allow him to really get things going.
Sure. Well, Gunnar, first of all, congratulations. Decisive victory. You guys are clearly showing up here with a strong performance. Just talk to me a little bit about Theme Park, because it's not one of those maps that we see a lot of teams have a level of comfort on. It was Wichita Wolves who elected to go there tonight. How does that map really shake up within your team, and was it something you were prepared to do here tonight?
We were definitely prepared to go to that map. We didn't really want to go to like a frag fest heavy map because their team is kind of stupid and not coordinated. So Theme Park, they gave us Theme Park and Club, and like from then, I mean, I was just comfortable. I knew we were gonna win. So
well,
they're not really
good to
a
hear,
coordinated team, so they can't really crouch walk and murder my old team.
Sure. Well, you've been on this pretty gunning role. You've been, top fragging in a lot of these games recently. Coming to this team and fitting in, how has been like overall, like the way you've been able to fit into this roster and kind of shape up with the rest of this dynamic?
Pretty well, honestly. Like, I mean, I've been playing with these guys for years, just like never really on like a team. We kind of teamed a while back on like Rose, and then like everyone kind of went their separate ways. But I'm more like happy on the role because I've been playing like Sledge and like Flex for like a year when I was on like Aerial and stuff. So coming back to like Zoe and like more aggressive roles, I'm enjoying it a lot, and like especially with like Felt entering with me, like I'm really comfortable on the team now.
Cool. Well, there was one especially clutch moment that we witnessed. It was Zeno coming up top of red stairs defending Cash and CCTV. I have no idea how you managed to win that round, by the way. Can you like walk us through how that clutch kind of came out and what the spirit was like?
Well, I had him go below because like they didn't clear the Maestro cam still, so I was like, you're just gonna shotgun this guy because we're plant, and then Rex will take the other one. Unfortunately, Rex, we whipped a little, but I mean, we had no more info. We knew where Ash last was, so like he kind of just like pre-fired it, smoked the kid, and then he shotgunned the last dude, smoked him. Zeno does not get enough credit, in my opinion. People don't talk about him enough, and like he's ridiculous at the game, and needs more credit.
All right, well, C-Dabs, what do you got for him?
I did wanted to say that I noticed Zeno because, I played support. He was doing his job pretty much perfectly. He was only getting the kills that actually mattered, as evident by that clutch. But I want to talk about probably the biggest thing I could take away from Clubhouse was your ability to just crouch walk in Moto every single round in basement. Can you guide me through what the shot calls were on that?
I mean, so the round before, we should have won. Rex kind of was like misplaced, and then the guy was able to come up the hallway. So like the next round, the next time they went back there, I said like I just had Felt sit on the hatch and wait for late round. They only have one guy in there, so I mean we pressure him out. They don't hold anything, so we had a drone just chilling in there, and I just walked in and killed the guy because they're not aware. They don't fix stuff, so smoked him and then got an easy round.
I mean, that's fair enough. I think that's about all I have, but I'm going to toss it to you once again. Is there any shout outs you want to do? Shout out to the new org, players, socials. It's all in your court now.
Yeah, shout out to the new org. I appreciate them and for picking us up. And you probably hate our team because we have Rexby, but I love you guys. And yeah.
Well, the last thing before we send you off, you're playing the Pro-Am this weekend. Super exciting stuff. Any sort of thoughts about how that's going to go? What do you think you can stack up against some pro teams?
I mean, last time they played Beast Coast, I wasn't there, but they 7-0'd them. So, I mean, should be good.
All right. I guess that's all we got to hear.
Some confidence.
All right. Well, wish you the best of luck in the rest of this season and especially this weekend because it should be a spicy thing to witness. So long, man.
See ya.
All right. Well, C-Dubs, that was quite a game. Oh, the thing is, we still have stats. Though, look at the stats overall between the two series combined. So to get a broader picture, and we'll head to that now. So that's awesome to see. Faded, top of the leaderboard. That's not what Wichita Wolves wanted, but it really does show that the support player was having a good time today. But just look at Team MystiC. I mean, Whitlock. Are you kidding me? 1.64 rating, just the madman.
Yeah,
plus 15. Oh man.
Yeah, plus 15, plus 1 on the entry, but the crown jewel of the entry being Felt Winter, 5-1 plus 4, playing entry and roamer with a 73% cost. That's crazy. But once again, I do want to go back to Xeno just being a solid rock on the team. 70 cost, 2 plants, picking up his kills when he needed them most. 10-7, he's playing the unglorious roles, but that's exactly what you want. When you have a player that's as strong in the anchor that you can always trust, that's going to allow people such as Gunnar, Whitlock, Feltwinter, all the players that are in front of him to feel so much more confidence and not have any stress that like, oh my gosh, if I die, we lose. Having that rock, having that anchor, that's what Xeno's here for. And that's what allowed this team to just really go in and just slaughter.
Yeah. I really think you bring up a great point. I love to shout out the support players out there because, like you said, they're the rock of any team, and it allows those other big boys to light up the scoreboard. And I will say it one last time, talking about support players and them doing their role well, I think Faded did that really well today and has been doing it pretty well all season long, but especially today, at the top of that leaderboard. Couldn't get the positive rating or the positive KD, and that's just indicative of the opponent, less so their overall performance on the day. 3 plants on the side of Faded, 4 plants combined between Whitlock, Xeno, and Rexby on the Team MystiC side of things. Overall, just really good stuff from both of these teams, but a dominant victory for Team MystiC. That was pretty great to witness. Now, our next match coming up, CDAPS, we're not going to be casting it, but Crow and Jazz will be doing that. But it's a spicy one. It's Aggro versus Project Neo. I think a lot of people have been waiting for it.
Oh yeah, it's the battle of the red dots. You got JJ Blastful, self-proclaimed deputy, against Asian. You know, his Twitch handle is Asian is cracked, so I'm gonna expect big things coming out of both of those players as they're duking it out for pretty much who's going to be taking maybe second, maybe even potentially first in their group. Definitely gonna be an absolute barn burner, cast by 2 of my good friends, Adam, Jazzman Jassim, and Harrison Crow Broder. So definitely make sure to stay tuned for that one, but unfortunately we do have to throw it to a quick break to make sure we can have this smooth transition. Thank you to everybody that tuned out for game 1, but make sure to stay tuned because there's still a lot more seats to be played tonight at SCS.